We're live now, so no more of that.
No more of that.
No more of that. Welcome to Progressive Auto Sales Arena, everybody. Hello. And happy Family Day. It is Family Day here at the Progressive Auto Sales.
100%.
Well, it's Family Day everywhere. And boy, have the families shown up. There are people and children everywhere.
Absolutely.
And it's great to see as the Sarnia Stinger getting ready to take on the Flint Firebirds. And I don't know if you know this yet. We'll talk about the starting lineup, but Ashton Reeser is back here tonight.
Yes, he is.
So
I was just chatting with my buddy about that earlier, and we're wondering whether or not it's going to make
a difference.
The difference.
Well,
you know what I mean?
He'll be on the defense.
The difference, not a difference, but the difference.
He'll be out there with Ryan Mast on the defense line. Braden Guy, Ryan McGregor, Sean Jostling out there for the starting line, and Ethan Langevin back in between the pipes.
Go Langer. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I am too.
100%.
And honestly, both him and Ben Gaudreau, I thought.
No, we got two good goalies,
really
absolutely.
Well,
it's the defense that's been lacking for sure. So
that's
hopefully Reeser will bring back something to us.
They did win last week over, I believe it was North Bay in a shootout.
Yep.
Overtime.
Yep.
5-4. So that was good because we typically don't do well in the overtimes. And so that was good to see. But then, of course, coming back against Sudbury, 5-3 failure there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the overtime failures, you know what? It's just, for me, if I was to look at all of our overtime failures, I really think it's just that play to the whistle piece. Do you know what I mean? And in the overtime, it becomes way, way more important that you are always on top. If you are on the ice, you have to be on the whole time. Yeah. Because with 3-on-3, man, one little mess up.
There's less room for error.
There is no margin for error. Absolutely. And I think that's where we kind of just dropped it. You know, I mean, somebody take a shot, and instead of picking it up after for the next rebound or staying in the play, they peel off and expect something to happen. It doesn't, and then all of a sudden there's a turnover and we're in trouble, right? And that's where that happens.
Yeah, there's been a lot of close calls, if you will. There were a lot of games that we lost by one.
Yeah.
There were a lot of those overtimes that we lost against really, really strong, good teams as well, right? But that, like you say, that overtime is 3-on-3. You got to.
Yeah, it's really a no margin for error issue. I think that's all there is to it. And again, we'll go back to you keep talking about how that cycle of disappointment comes harder and harder to overcome. And I think that really shows. That's where it really shows is in those overtime periods. You know, because if you let up the throttle just a hair, the other team's going to take advantage of it, and they, one quick pass, and we're in deep ski.
Well, every team wants to win, obviously.
Sure.
That's why one of the reasons we're here. But do you hit a point? And I'm not saying that necessarily they're saying this, but do you sometimes hit a point mentally where you just kind of go, whatever?
Well, I do that every Sunday afternoon. Are you kidding me? I don't know what. But no, I get what you're at. You know what I mean?
I don't think you mean to have the attitude that we're going to lose.
But don't you find
for this to be over?
But don't you find then the way to get over that, or the way to get past that, is in some sort of will. It's a willpower thing. You come and the only way to get past that is to just will yourself to do something different.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And I think
wake up.
That's where we have to look in terms of the Sting, right? They need that effort, that one time, let's just full throttle, let's just go in there and just hammer somebody, hammer the team, right? And go at it and get that win so that we can start the momentum working in another direction. That's what I'm hoping to see soon. And of course, this far deep in the season, I would think that's also working against us, right? In terms of, I can see how, when you get this deep in the season, the real onus to make those changes, it kind of evaporates.
Well, the clock is ticking.
Sure.
Right.
Well, and we're not likely to make it in the playoffs at this point. I think actually, statistically speaking, I think we're out already. Yeah. I think, and that's totally unfortunate.
And when you get to that point, do you rest a little more?
Yeah, I
mentally,
don't know.
I
don't know. I think it's probably possible.
But you kind of want to come out, like they played some tough teams that you stated a few weeks ago. Okay, boy, now we're coming up against a whole bunch of teams.
Oh, sure.
Kitchener Rangers. Do we need to talk about that 7-0?
Yeah.
Talk about there's a hit to the ego, right?
Well, absolutely.
And Flint, look at Flint.
But we
today.
didn't show up that game. If you watch the Kitchener game, we really did not show up.
I don't know if you saw the interview with Darian Hatcher.
Yeah.
And he expressed disappointment.
Sure.
And he was asked, he had to know coming in against Kitchener that they're a pretty good team, and he was like, well, yeah, they're a good team, but he said, honestly, I think we gave them more than we needed to give them. We helped them win that game.
Sure we did. And that was unfortunate. Yeah, you're right. We gave them more than we really should have.
It's interesting.
We didn't show up. Yep.
When we've talked about it all. We've talked about the confidence issues. We talked about mindset. We've talked about what's happening in the locker room. And Darian Hatcher has said there's been some selfishness going on this team. We're playing selfish hockey. When the head coach comes out and says those kind of things out loud, is that that's got to be hard as a player to hear, but at the same time, I've sat and talked with Darian and nice gentleman, and I think he's just
frustrated.
I think he's frustrated too. Even
fair
if
enough.
you watch that interview, you get,
And you gotta, as a player.
But at the same time, it's like being your friend. What kind of friend would I be if I didn't tell you what I like? If you're being a jerk to people, what kind of friend am I if I don't step forward and tell you? That's what
absolutely.
And I think that's what Darian Hatcher is saying out there too. He's just being honest with this team.
Yeah.
And going.
The
message has been the same all year.
Sure. And I would say that honestly, because we've talked about it all season long as well. This team has skills.
The skills are there.
The skills are there. And I think
so what's gotten in the way?
Well, and I think that based on what Darian Hatcher said, and I think it would tend to lead me to believe that what we're experiencing right now is a locker room issue. This is a team that is just not, for whatever reason, not gelling, not coming together. We're not creating those connections, those working relationships that need to be in place in order to really make that win, make those skills come together to create wins.
And where does that come from? Does that come from what he says about being, selfish? Or is that coming from, you've mentioned it several times, there's a lot of line changes that have happened, so we just haven't had the opportunity to get to know each other? I don't know.
It could be personality
these guys
issues.
spend a lot of time together.
Sure, it could be personality. I've coached teams before, right? And I've been around a lot of it never happens like that. And I've been around a lot of locker rooms, and I've coached a bunch of teams, and I've seen a lot of sports, right? And from that end as well, and from being a player, and truthfully, there are times where the team just doesn't gel. There's some personality conflicts that get in the way.
When you live with each other, sooner or later, something's gonna happen.
But not always.
But how does that?
And part of the coach's job is to kind of manage that atmosphere in the locker room.
Family, right? You're the
parent? It depends, because there's different perspectives, right? And we've seen a lot of different coaches. If you go back to the Dave McQueen days, Dave McQueen was an autocratic, you do it or you're in trouble kind of guy. Okay. He really was. I'm going to yell at you minute by minute by minute. And then what happens in those circumstances is, one, the guys become afraid. They might be playing at a higher level, but they're afraid of making a mistake.
Walking on eggshells.
They're walking on eggshells, and that's stressful, and that causes problems, right? But then the other way is you run it as kind of that family unit, and that, very friendly. Okay, guys, everybody put your hands in, and we're going to do a yay.
I like that.
Well, sure. But then what happens there? But what that happens there is you get, sometimes people are thinking like, oh, I could mess up and nobody's going to care. You know what I mean? They're going to accept me, and we're going to move on. And so the onus on high peak performance just isn't there. Do you know what I mean? So I'm painting a couple of extremes.
Well, I don't know. I run a pretty calm household, right? And the director, my son here, will tell you likely that we do the yay, go team, go. But there are disciplines, like there's consequences for your actions at the same
100%.
time. So you can be the calm or whatever, and still do the yay.
But that's a good middle ground, right?
We are here to achieve something, and you're not playing part of the team. So maybe we bench you.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what. I've never been a coach, so I'm just saying.
Is that it, Jay? Are you being benched?
Are you being benched?
Have you been benched before? Uh-oh. That look says a whole lot of stuff about you, Dave.
He hasn't been in front of the camera yet, so until he's ready to step right here.
But you know what? I run my house the same way.
I know what you're saying. There's different formats
yes.
to be handled, and I guess that depends
on
the personalities you're dealing with.
Sure.
Can dictate how do we handle that.
Yeah, and there's different pros and cons to each methodology, right?
Well, and when we talk about coaches and family, let's talk about the billet families that are involved in this
too. Oh, my God,
yeah,
absolutely.
They're a part of the team as well.
Sure they are.
You know, because if maybe the coach was hard on me today, I got to talk to my
And we have
some
really amazing billet families,
absolutely.
Right? Let's not forget that, right?
And I wish we had more time. I know they do appreciate them throughout the season, but the billet families play a big role in what's happening.
Sure they do.
And who knows what's happening in home life that could be affecting. You don't know if you're having a bad day right now, I wouldn't know it because you're here to do, we're here to do our thing, right?
Yeah.
So we can't let that, hopefully we don't take that out onto the ice.
I'll tell you all about it afterwards.
Oh, boy. I already asked you a question before you went off, and I was like,
at your own peril.
Nice to see you, Jay. Anyway, but, lots happening out there, and we're coming up to about 8 minutes away before the Sarnia Sting come out there against the Flint Firebirds. Here's a team that we saw last year in the last couple of years. Really didn't do that well, except when they played the Sarnia Sting.
I know. Thorn in our side, yeah.
And now they've flipped it all the way around, and they're one of the strongest teams going right now.
They are a strong team, absolutely. I mean, this one's going to be a fight. I think Flint does typically play a fairly aggressive style of hockey.
That's normally what we see from them.
And so, I mean, I'm just concerned because some of our guys who are more prepared to handle that style of hockey.
Kelton Hatcher's still
not in the lineup. Yeah, Kelton Hatcher's still out with a messed up hand, and so I'm just a little concerned for that. But I mean, there are ways to take on aggressive teams and still put up a good fight. I think if we need to play some smart hockey. I know I've said it many times before. We need to be more in control.
Yeah.
We need to be more precise with what our stuff is.
Certainly.
I think the other thing that I've mentioned on occasion, but maybe not often enough, is that a lot of our passes seem to be going into the skates or in behind the intended passee. And I think that's a problem. You know what I mean? Like you have to, with that forward momentum, if you're going to keep it going, you need to pass where the guy is going to be, not where he is right now. Otherwise, you're passing behind him or into his skates. And we have to avoid those. And I think the other thing is we have to avoid those quick little short, like 3 or 4 foot passes to another guy who's already still in the same trouble. If he's in reach of the guy who's giving you pressure, the moment you pass, that guy's going to be on him. Those short little passes aren't going to work all the time.
No.
There is a right time to use them, but all the time we have to get away from that. And we have to keep that forward momentum going. And, in a team with like Flint, it's going to be more important to keep that happening.
All right.
Yeah.
Hope you could hear that.
Yeah. I told you I should be in the locker room. That's what it is.
All right. Well, no, I agree with you on that. It's at this point in the game, we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been a frustrating season. There's no question about that.
Been.
Everybody knows that. I don't think the guys are looking at the stats. They know where they are. And
next season we can look forward to all the. Geez, Dave, did you see that win the other day? It was awesome. Did you see this guy playing like a superstar? I think that's going to be next season. That for me, that's going to be next.
All right.
I hear you.
That's just the only one way to look us up.
It would be nice if they started tonight, though. It'd be nice to do that.
I think All right. We'll say hello to Jesse Waterfield. Thanks for watching out there, Jesse.
Perfect.
And anybody else watching, share your comments on the page. We'll take a look at them, and we'll do our best to respond. We'll be back at the end of first period, first 20 minutes of hockey, hopefully with positive results for your Sarnia Sting. For the show live on location, I'm David Burrows, and my very, very exciting good friend, Jay Peckham.
Go Sting, go!
Talk to you soon.